of children and teens in the U.S. are struggling with mental health conditions.
And it's leaving many parents and caregivers at a loss when concerns arise for their own children. The National Alliance on Mental Illness released a new book to help provide guidance for some families. And joining us to continue the conversation this morning is Dr. Christine Crawford, an Associate Medical Director with the National Alliance on Mental Illness and the author of You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers. Doctor, nice to have you with us today. How are you?
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this is a really important topic, of course. So what are some tips for parents who are concerned about their child's mental health?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of parents are worried because kids are really struggling. But I tell parents to take the time to actually notice their kid and to notice if there's any changes in their moods or their behaviors, and to be curious about what it is that you're noticing and to slow things down and engage in a conversation with your kid from a place of curiosity and explore with them, I wonder, why is it that I'm noticing you're not as interested in hanging out with your friends, or you seem a little bit moody, or what do you think is behind that? I really think that having these conversations and noticing your kid is the first thing that a lot of parents can do.
Well, how can parents be sure if their child's behavior is typical or needs intervention? How do you determine that?
Yeah, it could be a real struggle because there are a lot of behaviors that we see in kids, and parents are doing this for the first time often, and they're not quite sure if this is typical or not typical. So I talk about a concept in the book that I refer to as the distress radius. So if you see a pattern in how your kid is behaving and how they're functioning, and it seems like it's getting in the way of their ability to get through the day, you want to see if this is a problem that's only at home, or does this expand out to other aspects of the kid's life? Are we seeing problems at school? Are we seeing problems with their interactions with other adults, with other friends? And if you see it kind of expanding out to other areas of their lives and they're not functioning, that's a clear sign that you should get more support and help for your kid.
Doctor, we were just showing a picture of your brand new book, which is called You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers. For folks who pick up a copy and read it, what do you hope is the takeaway?
The takeaway is that youth mental health is important, but what is even more so important is empowering parents with the tools that they need to connect with their kid, to communicate with their kid, and to notice their kids, and to also be aware of some of the signs and symptoms of more serious mental health issues that can pop up in kids as young as 3, as well as old as 18. So I hope that folks know that this is a comprehensive guide that covers all of child mental health across many, many years, and I hope that they find it helpful.
Would you recommend both parents and caregivers read your book, whether they think their child is struggling or not?
Absolutely. This is all about taking a preventative and proactive approach when it comes to youth mental health. And this book provides people with the tools that are necessary in order for families to support healthy mental health development. So this book covers those topics. So don't grab this book when your kid is in the middle of a crisis. I mean, that's great if you do, but I really want to encourage people to also grab this book if they just want to also support their kids' mental health. So use it during a time of crisis, but more importantly, it could be used to prevent serious mental health problems from occurring.
Doctor, I wanted to ask you, just in terms of your practice and your time as a physician, what have you seen over this time period? Does the need for more resources, has that increased a lot? Are you seeing more children who are struggling with mental health in your day-to-day work?
What I'm seeing is that younger kids are actually struggling with their mental health. When we talk about youth mental health, I feel like we tend to focus on the teenage years. But what we know to be true is that kids in elementary school are really struggling, and they often get overlooked. And we also see that kids are experiencing more severe symptoms from mental health conditions. We know that kids as young as 5 are experiencing thoughts of suicide. And so that's why it's so important to be able to recognize mental health symptoms in really young kids, because it provides us with an opportunity to intervene early on.
Why do you think that is? 5-year-old.
Well, I know it's really difficult, but what I think it is that adults are struggling. adults are struggling with their mental health. They're struggling with being able to access the help and supports that they need to take care of their mental health. And there's also not enough time in people's schedule to be able to go to therapy, to take mental health days. But all of those things are so important when we're thinking about youth mental health. Adults need to care for themselves first so that they can better care for the young people in their lives and serve as great models and examples for how to cope and deal with intense emotions, because kids are learning from the adults in their lives. So we need to make sure that adults are taking care of themselves first.
Interesting. Dr. Christine Crawford, thank you so much for sharing the alarming research with us and also the tips. And congratulations on your book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Still ahead here on, oh, well, I was going to mention one thing actually before we go on to the next
Yeah.
topic. 5 years old. That's alarming.
I'm stunned by that.
But also, I'm curious, how do you determine the signs in a 5-year-old? You know,
Yeah.
a mental health struggle within a
Right.
5-year-old.
Yeah.
Are they
I mean, for any
quiet?
parent in
Are
that
they-
situation,
I
it's
don't know.
like, I mean, they're still developing as a person, and at such a young
Yeah.
age, it's like to have those thoughts at that age is just stunning to me. Stunning and sad.
And it's sad that the age range is just getting younger and younger too,
Yeah.
because usually when you think about youth mental health, you think about what, 13 to
Teens,
18?
like she was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but 5 is just
Elementary school kids.
disturbing.
Yeah.